y'all, I want to make this video, even though I'm looking a mess and I'm once again in the car with no phone mount. But y'all, it's just that important. I got to go on and give it to you. So, one thing I want to say about when it comes to sin, when it comes to the devil, when it comes to you trying to live a better life and make decisions for you and your life, don't ever get it confused. Do not be deceived. You understand me? I'm putting this message out here, and I don't want to be looking crazy. But don't be deceived into thinking that you can play in the devil's arena, play in the devil's playground, tickle his feet. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm going to go to the playground, but I'm not going to slide on that slide. I'm aware that this playground is called Devil's Playground. I'm going to go stand there and look. But I ain't going to touch nothing. Huh? You going to stand around with the temptation, but you ain't going to touch it? You not going to partake in it? Not a good idea. Not a good idea. I'm telling you now that it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. That's not what you want to do. That's not what you want to do. Now, hear me, and hear me clearly. God is most definitely powerful, more powerful than the devil, than the enemy. He does make a way for your escape. You understand me? But he also tells you, resist the devil and he will flee. Resist the devil and he will flee. Did he say play around with temptation? Did he say go light the cigarette up and just stand there with it in your hand and don't smoke it? Huh? Did he say go get butt naked in the hotel room with the man that you know you want to be celibate, you know you want to wait till marriage, but he told you go in there. Let's be quite honest and quite real here. Did he tell you to do that? Did he tell you we can just do foreplay? Did he tell you go to the club and everybody else drink? No, you can. Like I said, if you feel like, okay, once again with the Holy Spirit is what is supposed to sustain us from earthly and fleshly desires. That's why you have to be filled with that Holy Spirit. You have to have discernment of the Spirit. You have to have that on your side, because nothing else will beat anything from the enemy, anything from the devil, but God and the Holy Spirit. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't be deceived into thinking that is not the plan of the enemy, to confuse you and make you think this stuff is so simple and so small and so good and so easy to whatever. I'm just going to play around with it. It's not something you want to play around with. Okay? Whatever type of sin or issue you want to insert, because everyone struggles with different things. I'm just telling you from my experience. Don't even test God. Don't even test the Holy Spirit. Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and smoke and let me see if he put it out. Let me see if I go smoke and I don't get high. Let me see if I go get drink and I don't get drunk. Like, that's not your job to try to do that, to try to play with that. So that is all I had to say this morning, you guys, and the message really is for me, but I thought I would share it. And part 2 of what I want to say about that is just about walking in your wilderness season. Walking in your dry season, in your waiting season. That's even frustrating. It can be. But the Bible also says that if there's understand this, when there is a famine in the land, don't you know that God still will provide for you and yours? That God still will make plentiful crops for you and your family, even though there's a famine in the land? Do you know that he'll still make a way for your escape even through? But one thing about it, and I always bring this back to mind, but just like when Jesus was on the cross, just like he didn't want to, it pained him to be crucified. Let this cup pass from me. Take this from me, oh God. But there was still had to happen to fulfill God's plan. And a lot of times, some of these things happen to fulfill God's plan. And you're wondering, I've been walking in my wilderness season for so long. I'm walking in this waiting season for so long. What is the point of this? There is always a point. God knows best, and God knows what he's doing. But do believe that he can sustain you through that rough season and that wilderness season. He is enough to sustain you. And you have to lean on that in his faith and keep your eyes on that no matter what's in the midst. Just like, just simply because I was interrupted, I'm going to go ahead and finish what I was saying. And it really brings tears to my eyes because I'm trying to deliver this message based off of something I'm going through right now. And have been through several times. But, like I said, God will sustain you. Don't worry. If you feel like you have been the head and not, you've been the tail and not the head, you've been the borrower and not the lender, and you feel like this just never your season, and every time you look up, you're not being blessed with something, or if you feel like you're the outcast of the family, the black sheep of the family, if you feel like everybody always trying to treat you some type of way, trying to son you, trying to daughter you, trying to treat you like a child, trying to whatever, any of these things, don't feel loved. You just feel like God is always making, or, it seems like, I'm not saying this is what happened, but it seems like, you're always being made an example out of. You make a mistake or something happens and it seems like, all hell breaks loose versus other people just living freely, doing what they're doing, and it doesn't seem to faze them at all. And you're trying. I know how that feels. So I just putting this message out there today, even though keep telling myself I don't want to get on the camera not looking good, but every time I have a good message is when I'm not. So that's the crazy part. But I'm gonna go ahead and get